Good evening. It's a public meeting of the Board of Education of Clark Public Schools. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with PL 1975, Chapter 231, and that a special notice was made in conformance with Section 13 of the Act.
And can we get a motion to return to public? I see Mr. Smorl, followed by Mr. Breedy. Any roll call?
All in favor?
Aye. And if we can just rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And can we get a roll call?
Ms. Akalonis? Mr. Bensavinga?
Here.
Mr. Bone? Mr. Breedy?
Here.
Ms. Guerrero?
Here.
Ms. Harrison?
Here.
Ms. Hickman?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mrs. Smorl?
Here.
And Mr. Dunkersloot.
Here.
Having 8 board members who have a quorum.
Thank you. And at this time, can we get a motion for the approval of the minutes from last month? I see Mr. Breedy, followed by Ms. Guerrero. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Bensavinga?
Abstain.
Mr. Breedy?
Yes.
Ms. Guerrero?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Smorl?
Yes.
And Mr. Dunkersloot.
Abstain.
Motion carried.
All right, and now at this time, we'll open the floor to the public for agenda items only. So if there's anything you'd like to discuss that's on the agenda, now would be the time. Seeing none, we'll move on to personnel items 1 through 8. Can I get a motion? Personnel, Mr. Lewis, by Ms. Harrison. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bensavinga?
Yes.
Mr. Breedy?
Yes.
Ms. Guerrero?
Yes on 7 and abstain on the rest. 1 through 6.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Smorl?
Yes.
And Mr. Dunkersloot.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And on curriculum, we have 8 and 9. Can I get a motion? Mr. Breedy, followed by Mr. Smorl. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Bensavinga?
Yes.
Mr. Breedy?
Yes.
Ms. Guerrero?
Abstain.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Smorl?
Yes.
And Mr. Dunkersloot.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Board governance, we have items 10 and 12. Can I get a motion? Ms. Harrison and Mr. Bensavenga, any questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Bensavinga?
Yes.
Mr. Breedy?
Yes.
Ms. Guerrero?
Abstain.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Smorl?
Yes.
And Mr. Dunkersloot.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And finally, we have finance items 13 to 22. Can I get a motion? Mr. Smorl, followed by Ms. Hickman. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Bensavinga?
Yes.
Mr. Breedy?
Yes.
Ms. Guerrero?
Abstain on 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes on the rest.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Smorl?
Yes.
And Mr. Dunkersloot.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. At this time, we'll hand it to Mr. Grandy for the report of the superintendent.
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Donkersloot. This past month at our different schools, for example, at ALJ, our AP research students moved through the IRB review process that helps assure that the research that they will be conducting in the school year meets ethical standards and that their participants are at no risk. 2 weeks ago, Holocaust speakers came to speak with our CHK students. We had 3 women who shared a wealth of knowledge about that travesty in our history. Last week was our Making a Difference student recognition program at Frank A. Henley School, through which a number of our youngsters who displayed good leadership and good character were recognized. And lastly, heading into our Thanksgiving break, there was a float parade at Valley Road School that mimicked the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Beginning next week is our holiday concert series, all the following dates in the ALJ Auditorium at 7 p.m. Beginning next Wednesday, the 11th, with Valley Road School, followed by Thursday, Carl H. Kumpf, that's the 12th, And then the remaining 2 ALJ, Tuesday the 17th, and Frank A. Henley, Wednesday the 18th. Friday the 20th will be our last day for students and teachers. Break will begin on Monday the 23rd and run through Wednesday, January the 1st, with schools reopening on Thursday the 2nd. On behalf of the Clark Schools, happy holidays. Thank you and have a great evening.
Any reports of the committees? Seeing none, any unfinished or new business? Seeing none.
Thank you, and good evening. I'll begin my report with events at Arthur L. Johnson. On November 21st and 22nd, all lights were on the ALJ Theater Department as they performed The Crucible. The cast and crew did a phenomenal job of bringing Arthur Miller's play to life, and those who went definitely enjoyed it. After this, on November 27th, the National Honor Society ran their annual Teacher for a Day fundraiser. This fundraiser put students in the hot seat and had them work with their instructor to teach class for that day. Looking towards Comf, their unified sports will be participating in the Jingle All the Way 3K on December 8th, which all students are invited to walk in. This fantastic event that aims to bring people with and without disabilities together in a bright start to the holiday season. For anyone interested, all information regarding this event is on the Comf website. Following that, Comf students will have an opportunity to showcase their musical prowess on this year's winter concert on December 12th. This week at Frank A. Henley Schools, they're getting in the holiday spirit with their annual holiday boutique. During the boutique this Wednesday and Thursday, students will have the opportunity to purchase gifts and other items for all the important people in their life. On top of that, the Frank A. Henley PTA will be hosting a gingerbread decorating contest on the 11th. Valley Road School is also in a festive spirit this December and will be hosting a holiday shop from this Wednesday until Friday. Alongside this, on December 11th, they will have their winter concert. Over the past few months, the band students at Valley Road have been working hard, practicing their music, and putting in work, and they can display it here. Finally, the preschool held Snacks with Someone Special, a fun day where family and students could bond over snacks. Thank you.
Thank you, Aiden. All right, so at this point, we will open up the floor to the public for any non-agenda items. So if there's anything that'd like to be discussed, now would be the time. Please come up, state your name, your address for the record.
Bill Draghi, 47 Post Road, Clark, New Jersey. It seems like President Trump will probably be in office January 20th, so the next meeting he won't be president yet. But he's already threatening the hostages, threatening Hezbollah and Hezbollah for hostages, and if they don't give them, he's threatening to really come down hard on them once he's elected. So maybe he'll do the same with the LGBTQ stuff, because every rally I listened to, he said he's going to come out against LGBTQ in the States. I don't know how he'll do it. He did say something about federal funds. I'm not sure if it was for that, but how much of our budget is supplied by federal funds? Is it like 10% or something?
Mr. Rizzuto, could you answer that? Yeah.
What percent? Okay, yeah. Well, that's probably the most force you can probably put on Murphy, certainly to maybe withhold the federal funds if he doesn't come along and cut out all this LGBTQ stuff. So I'm hoping, even if it doesn't work, at only 5%, but he might do something more drastic once he's elected, and maybe even have an executive order to stop any of that stuff. And I kind of feel in my heart that you will be very happy with that. You may not admit it here, but I think you will be very happy with that too, the school board. I know you have to obey the law, but even there, it can be. It's not really breaking the law if the law is unconstitutional, which it is. If if it's coming out against any religious beliefs of any teachers or any board members, because of the equal protection law, which says you cannot make anybody come out against their religion. And it's clearly in the Bible. It's against most Christians and Jews, and I don't think there's any Muslims in
10
school
seconds.
system. Pardon?
10 seconds.
But he may that may be very, very persuasive. Hopefully, you don't have to really obey those laws.
Thank you, Mr. Draghi. Thank you. Anybody else in the public like to say anything? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Motion to exec? Oh, Mr. Small, I'm sorry. Mrs. Gray. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.